I think how I integrated it is the most important part of it, though, because one of the things that I focus on as an advocate and as a support in the psychedelic space is that integration is key. Oftentimes, when we're having experiences and we come into our awareness, we become a bit overpowered, or sometimes we're just empowered and we make very, very rash and impulsive decisions, and then we're forced to pay the consequences of it. Like, for example, say you've been living a little bit out of integrity and you need to be honest with yourself about some things. You take a medicine journey, a psychedelic journey, and you start to become more aware. What oftentimes happens that I see in this space is that people will become aware and then go and do an action that follows that awareness immediately. Why this is a bit of a problem is because you haven't integrated enough to know how to fully act without causing, harm to yourself and the other people involved. Sometimes you going and immediately quitting your job before you have enough money saved up has some harsh consequences on you. And then you want to blame the plant medicine for it. So just taking a second to realize that the job may not be for you and that it's time to make a shift, but not being so quick to act on it.
Do it in a realistic manner. Do it in a realistic manner.
Exactly.
Do you believe psychedelics have the potential to help Black and Indigenous people reconnect with ancestral wisdom and long suppressed spiritual technologies?
Yeah. I'll say that yoga is a long suppressed spiritual technology that oftentimes you don't really know you need unless you have an experience that makes it make sense. It's hard when you have social media at the touch of a button to compare to sitting and what seems like you're doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? You're getting these constant dopamine fixes. You're feeling like, you're making real progress, maybe in your career. It quote unquote offers you a lot, right? So it seems. And then when you think about things like meditating and stillness, you're not really sure of what the immediate effects of that are. And so working with psychedelics can help it make more sense for you. I think for me, a direct example of it was I was able to see that the things that I really wanted were not sustainable in the way that I was going about them. Like going towards,
I know what you're saying, but elaborated on it more for those listening.
yeah, I think like for a person who was building a brand and things like that on social media, I was seeing how, yes, it's great to do these things and to collaborate and to connect with community. But when community actually gets in front of you, knowing what to do with it is super important. And if you do not have tools, then you won't know how to keep the community together. You'll pull it towards you, but you won't really know how to sustain it. And so yoga for me is all about sustainability at its core, and that's why it's an ancient tradition. That's why it's ancient and still very prevalent to this day. Something that's thousands and thousands of years old is still being used to this day because it is sustainable. And people know that. And those who are still carrying on this practice to this day can show you how it's done. And it can become a tool in your tool belt. And tools are what keeps community together.